Good morning, everyone. Thank you all for being with us this morning for our first Build Your Business Wednesday event of 2021. Today, we have the privilege of listening to Dr. Rhonda Alexander, who will be speaking about the nuts and bolts of starting your business. Now, Dr. Rhonda Thompson Alexander is a servant, an empowerer, and an encourager of entrepreneurs. She is the founder and principal coach of E-Squared Entrepreneur and Executive Coaching, where she coaches entrepreneurs and leaders who desire to step out of their comfort zones, reach new goals, and take their effectiveness to the next level. She is also the founder and CEO of IUVO Consulting LLC, a global firm dedicated to assisting domestic and foreign organizations with the U.S. Food and Drug Administration regulation compliance. In 2018, Dr. Rhonda joined the Norfolk State University faculty as an adjunct professor, and in 2019, she was appointed executive advisor to the Norfolk State University Innovation Center. Dr. Rhonda holds a bachelor's degree in molecular biology from Hampton University, a Master of Science degree in clinical chemistry from Medical College of Virginia, Virginia Commonwealth University, and a Master's of Public Administration degree from Old Dominion University. She also holds a doctorate in strategic leadership from Regent University. Real quick, please make sure that you're on mute, and if you have any questions during the presentation, please type them in the chat along with your email, just in case we don't get to it. So without further ado, Dr. Rhonda Alexander.
Thank you, Tiffany. Good morning, everybody. It is so exciting to see that all of you are here this morning to join us for our very first Build Your Business Wednesday of 2021. I'm excited, so we're going to jump right in. I'm sure there are going to be lots of questions. I have lots to cover, so I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. As Tiffany said, if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. And we'll get to questions at the end of my presentation. And if we miss anything or if we run out of time, we can't get to your question. If you include your email address with your question, we'll be able to respond by email. So be sure to do that. If you all can see me or see my my screen, just drop a yes or an okay in the chat. And we'll get dropping. We'll get going here. Great. Wonderful. Okay. So thank you again for joining us. I'm going to be talking about the nuts and bolts of starting your business. Give me 1 second to move this screen here. And so we're really going to talk a lot about, at a very high level, about the things that you'll need as you're thinking about starting your business. There's a lot to cover, a lot to think about. But for many people, we've been seeing lots of information about, if you've been thinking about starting a business, this is your year, this is what you can do. If you've been waiting, putting off starting your business because you've been waiting on some funding and now you've got a couple extra dollars coming in with your quote unquote STEMI, right? And you want to put that to good use and start your business. There are some things that you need to think about before you get started. So we want to talk about how to bring your idea to life, how to find customers, how to form your business, laying the foundation of your business, mission and vision statements, how to build your team, and then talking about funding, protecting, and promoting your business. So for all of you who are who know about starting businesses, or if you've started one before, this is a lot to cover. So I want to start off with one of the things I like to say a lot when it comes to successful business. And that is, successful businesses are, one, the answer to a question, the solution to a problem that people are willing to pay for, right? So your question, your business has to answer a question for your customer, or it has to solve a problem for them. That's the only way you're going to be successful. So when we start talking about what your idea is, first of all, if you've been thinking about starting a business, you might have been thinking about, what is it you want to sell, or some item that you want to sell, or something you want to make and put out to the world, or, your art or your music. But really, we have to always go back to that very first question, or that very first statement, rather. Is it something that is a problem or a question for your customer? So we start out by asking, what's your perception of the problem you're solving? Is it that, there's more Black art that needs to be out there? you have to have in your mind that there's a problem. Your business is a solution. What is it? And then what change are you trying to cause in your community or in the world, right? Because ultimately, entrepreneurs really aren't in business just to make money, right? We like to make money. We hope to make money. And that's why we're in business and not volunteering. But if you're an entrepreneur, really it's bigger than you, right? It's a bigger cause, a bigger purpose. So what is that? What cause do you want to produce or change do you want to produce in the world? And then why? What is your why? And the reason this is a really important question is because there will be times when you want to quit this journey, right? As you learn more and start your business and launch and really get out into the deep waters, there will be days when you literally just want to throw your hands up and walk away. And your why is going to be what keeps you going in those moments. So you have to know very clearly why you want to start this business. What is this going to do for you, your family, your community, the world in general? So why? Know your why. So when we start to think about your big idea, we already talked about, do people want or need it, right? And what problem is it solving for them? Now we need to know whether or not they're going to pay for it, right? Because there are lots of things people want, but they think is a good idea, but they're like, I'm not going to pay for that. I'm able to do that this way on my own, and it's just not worth it to me to spend the extra money. So I'm not going to. And so you need to know whether your solution falls into that category of things that people say, that's nice, but I'm not paying for it. Or if they'd say, oh my gosh, I've got to have it and I'll pay an arm and a leg to have it, right? So you need to know whether or not people are going to pay for it. And you need to know why they would choose your idea over someone else's. Right. So let's say, you want to get into a t-shirt business. What is what we call the unfair advantage that your business will have over others? Why would your t-shirt business be different? Not necessarily because it's you. Maybe it's because of a technique that you use, or a type of fabric, or type of process, or, there's something unique about your business, even if it is making cakes. What is it that would make me choose your business over somebody who is similar in your industry? Really important to know. So how do you know this? You've got to test your idea. And I venture to say that this is one of the areas where our businesses tend to fall short. Our entrepreneurs fall short. We don't ask enough questions before we launch our business. So I'm going to tell you to take huge attention, pay huge attention to this slide, and even follow up with us at a later time to get us to help you work through what we call customer discovery. It's a huge part of starting your business. If you engage in customer discovery, you will know whether or not this endeavor is even worth it for you. So, and by the way, we will make these slides available to you. So you'll be able to have this information after the presentation. But it's really, really important to test your idea. You've got to ask people, how are you solving this problem? What are the problems that you face in this particular issue? So when you try to do this, when you try to buy a computer, what problems do you have? And let them tell you what their problems are, and let them talk through, and you can start to hear what kinds of solutions they're looking for, or whether or not your solution is something that they're looking for. Don't go and ask them, hey, I'm thinking about starting a business where I'm making t-shirts. Would you buy it? No, say, hey, what's your biggest pet peeve when you go to buy a t-shirt? What's your biggest pet peeve about buying cupcakes for your daughter? And let them talk to you about what their problems are. And you can do this through one-on-one conversations or through questionnaires. There are lots of other ways that you can do it, but the two simplest and easiest are really to just get out there and talk, get out of the four walls, away from your family and friends, ask real potential people, because our family and friends will gas us up and tell us your business is amazing, you can do anything, you should totally do it. And then you get out there and then we're mad because our family and friends don't buy out our inventory, and we've got big boxes of t-shirts and whatever it is that we're selling. We're waiting for those people who gassed our heads up to buy. And they were like, no, I was just encouraging you. I had no intention of buying anything. And so if you don't get past your friends and family, you can run into this kind of bias. So make sure that you're talking to real potential users and purchasers of your product or service. And that when you hear from them, you go back to your idea and you tailor your idea to fit the needs of the market. Do not try to get the market to accept what you're putting out. That's a huge, huge error that we make as entrepreneurs, to try to make people want what we want, or want our product the way that we present it. You will be successful, as I said before, when you're answering their questions or solving their problems. So your idea has to fit the ideas or the needs of the market, not the other way around. Okay, really, really important concept. So then you need to think about, what's your goal, right? We need to figure out if your business is a side hustle or if it's sustainable, and if it's subject to growing and scaling, is what we call it in formal terms. Can you scale, which means, can that business grow to be an enterprise, or can it be franchised, or can it become global? Or do you want to sell it, right? So some people really are okay with their business just being a way to supplement their income. So if you're retired, or if you have a job and you just want to do something on the side, you know, there's only so far you want your business to go. So you may not grow it or hustle as hard as somebody who wants to be able to do this thing full time, so they can quit their job, get out of the rat race, and really do what it is that they feel they're called and led to do. So, and then still others know that this is a business that I want to survive me. I want to be able to pass it on to my children. I want to be able to hire employees. I want this to be a huge enterprise, or I want to sell it. So yes, people start businesses, and in their mind, they're like, hey, we're going to blow this up and sell it. And in my mind, I kind of think of Clubhouse, right? When I think of businesses like that, we think about what Clubhouse is doing, right? And if you know what Clubhouse is, it's a new social media platform that is all audio. And at first I was like, this is just a big party line. What in the world are they going to do? But if you think about it, they're going to grow it. And even though they can't really expand it into video and, because all the other platforms are doing that, they have a good possibility, because they're now valued at over $100 million, I think. They have a good possibility of being bought by, the other big social media giants. And so a lot of companies, there are companies that start with the end goal of selling. And so you have to know your desired ending before you start, so that you'll know what to expect from yourself and from your business. If you know that your business is only going to be something that you want as a supplement to your income, you'll treat it differently, and you'll have different expectations. And so be very mindful of that. Think about what it is that you want that business to do for you, and then you can set the appropriate goals. So now we're going to talk about organizing the business. And this is one of these slides. There are entire seminars and classes that we talk about in how to formalize a business, how to file it with the state. And if you're in Virginia, this is really, it applies kind of to everybody, but I'm going to give you some insight about Virginia simply because that's where I do most of my consulting and where I personally do business. But these types of businesses are, of course, recognized nationwide, and there are 4. So you've got the LLC, which I'm sure everybody's kind of heard of, right? If you've been on Facebook at all, everybody's telling you, go buy your LLC, child, right? So you've heard of LLC, you may have heard of corporation, the SCorp, SCorp, and then the nonprofit. So the LLC is what, as I said, everybody is really used to hearing about it. It's the easiest one to understand, and it's usually used for single owners. So if you're a solopreneur, you have a small enterprise, you're just starting out, most people start here at the LLC, because there aren't a lot of restrictions on the LLC. and it's not expensive to form, and you can file your LLC, the income from your LLC on your personal taxes. So you don't have to file two different tax returns when you have an LLC. So that really tends to be very easy for most entrepreneurs. Then when you get into S Corp and C Corp, the S Corp is kind of like an LLC, but it's treated a little bit differently when it comes to tax purposes. And you have to qualify to be able to file your taxes as a separate entity for an S Corp versus the LLC. So it still has what we call that pass-through feature, where income and deductions and credit can be passed through from the business to the entrepreneur or to the entrepreneurial team. But there are some additional features that are available for the S Corp. The C Corp is what most people would say is considered to be a separate and complete person in the eyes of the law, from the entrepreneur. So it is taxed completely separately from its owners. This is where you can distribute stock. So most companies kind of matriculate through these different types. So they can start as an LLC and then transition to some other format if they feel that for their strategic purposes, it's necessary. I'm going to say to you, the caveat is talk to a financial professional or a tax attorney, somebody that can give you the nuts and bolts. But for the most part, for many people at this stage, especially if you're a solopreneur, you're probably going to start out as an LLC. But there are others. So, and then the nonprofit, right? So many people want to know, how do I start my nonprofit? How do I get this thing going? A nonprofit, as you know, is used for charitable purposes as defined by the Internal Revenue Service. It's not that nonprofits can't make a profit. They can make a profit, and quite a few of them actually do. They make more money than they spend. Some of them do. The difference is that those profits cannot benefit anybody on the leadership team. So that profit, if they make $1,000 over their expenses in a year, that $1,000 has to go toward their charitable purpose, or it has to stay within the organization. So that's the difference between the four. And again, if you have questions, we're able to help you direct you to resources that will help you decide which sorts of types are best for you. But ultimately, you'll want to, for specifics, you'll want to talk to a CPA or a tax attorney. So then the next thing is you file with the State Corporation Commission. And here's the link. And again, these are active links. So when you get this presentation, you'll be able to tap on the link or click the link and go to the State Corporation Commission. Now, I will tell you, there are professionals who will help you file for your LLC, S Corp, C Corp, whatever it is you choose. But it is created to be self-service. You can go to the SCC and click on new businesses, obtain a login, and then select for new businesses. And it will walk you through the process of filing for your LLC. The fee is $100. And when you complete it, you have the certificate of LLC, and you officially have a business in the state of Virginia. It can take about 20 minutes. So definitely, follow this link. It's really hard. I wanted to be able to show you a video to walk you through it, but you have to actually input information to be able to get through the process. So I didn't want to put in dummy information, but do try as best as you can to check out that link, and then see if it works for you, if you still need to do so. The next thing is to obtain an EIN. So whether you're going to be an LLC or an S Corp, C Corp, or a nonprofit, you're going to need an EIN, and you file for that from the IRS. And here's a screenshot of that homepage. Another 10-minute, very easy process, free to do, and you can do it on your own. You will need this so you can do your banking. You will need it so that you can then, transact with the government. Whatever your business is going to do, it's really important to have an EIN. So this is the link to be able to obtain that. So now let's talk about laying the foundation for your business, right? So we've got our LLC, we've got our EIN, and now what? let's talk about how we give this business a foundation that we can build upon. The next thing we're going to start to do is to form our vision and our mission statement. So we start with the vision statement, which really is a way that you anchor your business's strategic plans, and you are able to tell the world what you hope to achieve. And it gives you something to strive toward, right? So your business's vision is the dream you have for your business. So, that I want to be, in my mind, I want to be X in the world for my business. And it's going to help you articulate and aim for something as you're conducting business. And it helps you to tell your team what we're shooting for. So visions are very, very important, because without it, people don't know where they're going, right? If you're the leader and you don't have a vision, you haven't displayed that vision or shared that vision with your leadership, with your staff, or your followership, they're not going to know where to go. And they're not going to know where they're following you to. So that's really, really important. When it comes to creating the vision statement, I have a process where I walk people through creating that statement. I have a worksheet, but this is really the summary of that worksheet that I use when I coach. Step 1, step 2, step 3, and step 4. You look at what is your ultimate outcome? What is it that your business hopes to achieve? Write that down. Don't make it formal. Don't sweat over it. Just, what is it that I want to achieve? And then what is it that makes my business unique? What sets me apart from my customers, from my competition, and draws my customers to me? And then narrow it down to a demographic, a region, an area, an age group, and then refine it and make it relatable, right? So if I can relate to what you're saying, if I get it, if it resonates with me emotionally, then I'm going to be able to say, wow, I really buy into that. I really identify with that, right? So I have an example down here of an example vision statement, and I've color coded it so you can see the different components: the output, the uniqueness, the quantification, and the relatable connection. So the statement is, our vision is to feed hungry families using only farm to table ingredients, ensuring that we protect our environment by satisfying appetites. Well, okay, so the output, what do we want to do? I want to feed people. I don't want people to be hungry. So I want to feed people. That's my output. My uniqueness is that I'm only going to use farm to table ingredients. Everybody else might use frozens. They may use imported. I'm growing what I am using, right? So that's my uniqueness. Then my quantification, I'm only focusing on families. I want to make sure that I am, not that I'm excluding individuals, but my goal is to have a family focus, right? And then my relatable connection. Everybody wants to protect the environment, and everybody wants to be satisfied. Nobody wants to be hungry, right? We can all relate to that. So if you can see these components as you are creating your vision statement, if you can incorporate these components and then narrow it down to a very powerful statement, when people ask you, what do you hope to do? I want to feed families using only farm to table ingredients and help protect the environment and satisfy appetites. Boom, that's it, right? That's what you do. Okay, so that's how you create your vision statement. And again, it's a process, and it is something that you can work on over time. So the next thing is mission statements. They tell you how you're going to achieve your vision, right? So this is the how. We talk about the why, and this incorporates the vision is the what. This incorporates the why. The mission statement includes your company's purpose. Why does your company exist? What values do you want to demonstrate or to display? How are you going to reach your vision, and then shape your culture so people know as they come into the business, what can they expect from you? So again, we have a process, because I'm a very procedural and process driven person. I need steps, right? So I need steps 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. You start with a statement of what your company does. Then you move on to how you'll do business. What are your core values? Are you making sure that you're using integrity, quality? Are your response times important? Customer service, what are your core values? Just write them down, listing. right? We're not even making sentences. We're just doing kind of a brain dump. What's important to you? For me, excellence is important. For me, customer service is important, right? So when we start to talk about mission statements, those core values are going to come into play. Then we're going to take step 1 and 2 and make a purpose statement. It's going to be short. It's going to be powerful. And then we're going to add a why. And that converts that purpose into a mission. Now we're not just existing. Now we're driven. Now we're moving forward. So let's look at this mission statement that was Tesla's at some point, but it shows that there is an overlap. So our goal at Tesla is to accelerate the advent of sustainable transport by bringing compelling mass market electric cars to market as soon as possible. Now, very easily, Tesla could have said, we want to sell electric cars. Our mission is to sell electric cars, right? But that doesn't really bring it home for you. So what the company does is sustain the advent of sustainable transport. There's an overlap here, right? But that's what they want to make sure that these sustainable transportation gets to the market much quicker than it would organically, right? So then what are your core values? How are you going to do it? Compelling, we're going to use compelling mass market cars. Core values, compelling. Our purpose is to accelerate the advent of sustainable transport by bringing compelling mass market electric cars to market. So that whole statement is their purpose. And then their why is because we need to get sustainable transport on the market as soon as possible, right? So you can see how they took all of these different steps, combined them, and made one really powerful statement. And that's where we want you to go. It will take some time. You'll have to write it a couple of times, maybe shoot it past a couple of friends, talk with a coach. If you don't have one already, get one. And they can help you get through this process and come up with a statement that really, when you hit on it, you have that mind-blowing experience. And that's really where you want to go. So now let's talk briefly about building your team. This is another area where I could probably have a whole session, right? I just did a Clubhouse talk on how trauma impacts our ability to do work as a team. Why do we feel like we have to do it all on our own? One of the things that you're going to be required to do as an entrepreneur is to bring in resources, people who can help you get done what you need to get done. And that's hard for a lot of us, especially if we're control freaks, especially if you're accustomed to doing it all by yourself. But you need a team. And so you have to know, first of all, what it is you need, right? Before you'll know who you need. You can't say, oh, I need an HR person and I need an administrative person. No, you need to say, what tasks are necessary for my business to succeed? What do I need? I need maybe a logistics person. I need maybe somebody to keep track of orders. I might need somebody to take phone calls. Okay, so those are the tasks. And from there, you start to think about, all right, these are the kinds of people that I'll need to achieve these goals. What will they actually do to help me achieve my goals? And then I'm like, what kind of people do I want to work with? Do I want to work with strict by the book people? Do I want to work with laid back people? Do I want to work with people who will do exactly what I tell them, or will they take initiative? Do I want to be able to do I want to hire people that I can mold? What kinds of people do I want on my team that can help me move my business forward? And then how do I find them? Where are they? Am I going to ask them to come in as a part of my leadership team? Am I going to hire them as employees? How will you find them and how will you recruit them? Give good consideration to that. Even if you're not ready to bring on other people as employees or partners in your organization, do still keep in mind that you won't be able to really be successful in your business as long as you try to do everything yourself forever. It's just not physically possible. You will reach capacity and you just won't be able to take on anymore, even if you stay up 24/7. So let's talk about funding business. Again, really a huge topic. You need to know, number one, how is your business going to make money? Right? We call these revenue strategies, but the nuts and bolts of it is, how are you going to make money? Is your business just purchase driven? Is it that people make repeated purchases? Do they make one big one-time purchase? Are they going to come back to you? Are you going to work off of a subscription? Are people going to buy from you repeatedly? Do they have to keep coming back? And I've noticed, I don't know if you guys are Amazon-aholics like me, but now Amazon has subscriptions. It's not just enough to have me come in, and impulsively buy. Now you want to say, hey, we'll refill it every 3 weeks or refill it every month. And now they have automatic income from me as if they didn't have enough, right? So what are the streams? What are the ways that your business is going to be making money? And then what are the different types of ways? Are you going to do products and services, or different kinds of products, or different tiers of services or products? What will that be? So you really need to think about your revenue strategy, your revenue stream. How exactly are you going to make money? It's not just to say, well, I'm going to charge $50 for this because that's what I think it should be. You need to make sure that your the income that you make covers your expenses, covers your time, and actually brings you a profit. So you need to make sure that you're in that mind frame when you start talking about profits and start talking about pricing. Make sure that your number isn't just some number because everybody else sells t-shirts for $20. I'll sell them for $20 too. Well, what if it costs you $22 to make that shirt? I mean, it's an expensive shirt, but what if it does? Then you're not making money. You're actually spending money to do business. So you need to not only know what does it cost you to produce the item, but what does my time cost? That's also a part of the expenses of doing business, and it should be incorporated into the cost of your item or whatever it is you're selling. And then what's your magic number? If somebody came to you today as a budding entrepreneur and said, hey, I want to help you start your business. What do you need? How many people can say, I know exactly what that number is and what that number would be put to use for? I need $50,000, and that will help me get a building, get my first employee, pay myself for 3 months. What would that money do? Most of us, as we're starting out, we don't even know. We just start selling. Okay, this is fun. Now I'm in this selling thing, and I don't know I don't have any financial goals. I don't know how much money I'm making because I'm spending it as it's coming. You need to make sure that you have a grasp on your finances and on your funding. Also, it's important to know when you should seek a loan, when or whether you should seek a loan, a grant, or investment. Not every business will seek these things, and these items are not appropriate for every business. But I will tell you, before you jump out and get a business loan, talk to someone. Very often we get into these business loans and they actually are detrimental simply because we're not financially prepared. You're going to need a lot of documentation for a loan to make sure that you don't end up in more trouble than you were when you started. Really get a lot of advice before you start pursuing business loans. Grants are available. They're not as easy to get as people would lead you to believe, but they are available for lots of demographics, particularly people of color, women, SWAM businesses, small women and minority-owned and veteran-owned businesses. Those as well there are grants available, but again, there are lots of hoops to jump through to get business grants. And so I do have some resources at the end of this presentation that will help you to identify some of the grant makers and some of the resources that you could use to get grants, especially if you're interested in starting a nonprofit. Nonprofits are the ones who generally get grants because everybody, you can write those off. As a donor, they can be written off. So most companies, if they're going to provide a grant, they're going to look for something in return. So we do have those resources available for you to be able to check out and do some more research. And then investment. Again, a lot of preparation goes into that. And we do help at the Innovation Center, we do help clients prepare for investment if your business is going that way. It's not just, hey, I'm going to get an investor. That's a miscommunication or misunderstanding in a lot of minority-owned small businesses. It's not as simple as you think. It's very relationship driven. It's you have to be prepared. You have to have a pitch. You have to have a process, and you have to know exactly how your investors are going to be paid back. Right? They have to know that they're going to get their money back in a short amount of time. So you need to know these. Funding your business. So then protecting your business. You'll need insurance for your business. Errors and omission insurance, or E&O insurance. It's inexpensive, $50 a month maybe. But if you're doing consulting where you're helping people or you're providing food to people, you need to insure your business. If something happens in this litigious society, you could be putting yourself at risk. So you need business insurance. You need insurance for yourself, right? As small businesses or as entrepreneurs, that's a huge expense. Ask me how I know. But you still need it. You've got to have health, disability, and life insurance. Those needs don't go away. You need to have a business banking account, and you need to have somebody who can give you good, strong, mainstream advice about your taxes and your income and help you with your bookkeeping. And when I say mainstream, I mean not just stuff that you heard on TikTok or social media, somebody who really is in the industry who can tell you this is how you should structure your business and this is the way you can reduce your tax liability. Next, we're going to move into creating a business image. Branding. You need a motto or a tagline. You need to work on your elevator pitch. That's something else that we help with, is to help you to streamline. What will you say in 90 seconds when somebody goes, hey, what do you do? What's your business? Or they see your t-shirt and they say, what do you do? What is it that you can say, right? I met a photographer once, and her elevator pitch was killer. Asked her what she did. She says, I capture memories. Wow. How do you do that? And that's what you want from your elevator pitch. When somebody asks you, what do? You can instantly draw them in and make them want to know more. That can be a customer, a partner, or a potential investor, just by knowing what to say in a very, very short period of time. Of course, you're going to need a website and you're going to need a logo, right? Most of the time, that's what we start out with and set out to get, but you definitely do need those things to create your business image. And then marketing your business. You're going to need a plan. How are you going to get people to know that you're in business? What are the channels you're going to use? Social media, which everybody wants to use. It's not as easy as one may think. Television ads, those are still relevant. Person to person is still relevant. Even though we're not in person, when you're speaking to people about what you're doing, you're wearing your t-shirt, you're out and about, you have your marketing materials, you still have the opportunity to tell people what you do. Radio ads, print ads, whether you're going to do flyers or anything else that might, fall under print, things that you might mail out or hand out. Those things are still, in some industries, still very relevant. And so then you're going to need certain materials, right? We're using professional business cards, either a digital or a print. There are very good digital business cards now. And then you'll need an informational brochure, or what we call a one sheet, just in case it's something you need to email out, print and digital flyers, and then promotional banners. So in case you are going to do a vending event, you'll want to find those banners that look really pretty and tell everybody who you are with your logo and your face or whatever on there. Those promotional banners, they do come in very, very handy. So is that all? Right? Have I covered everything? Absolutely not. As you can see, 40 minutes in, and I probably have covered like the very, very thinnest skimming of the surface of what it takes to start your business. But this is hopefully enough to get you going. So my response to this is nope, that's not all. What I have here is the resources that I put into that I mentioned earlier in the presentation, as well as some SBA resources for funding your business. So how you might want to find grants, or planning the funding of your business and making money for your business. You'll get that from that link. And then if you are a nonprofit and you want to learn about what it takes to apply or actually find the 1023-EZ or the 1023 itself, those are the links that will take you directly to those resources. And let me just say, we do help you all with, we are available to help you with these with these processes. So that's really it. Now we can kind of open things up to questions. If you want to contact me, I have a website, thedrrhonda.com. I'm on all social media platforms at thedrrhonda. I'm also the executive advisor for the NSU Innovation Center, which I'm really excited to be working with. So you can reach me either at the center or directly, however you want to do so. I've included all of my contact information for both. So I'm going to stop sharing at this time. And Tiffany, if we have questions, I'm happy to take them.
Yes, we do. And just really quickly, yes, there will be a recording of this session available on our YouTube channel. And so that will be available on Friday. Let's see. So the first question, we do have a couple questions. The first one is, can you take your LLC to an SCorp or a SCorp? Or
Yes.
sorry, can you take your LLC to an SCorp, or vice versa? Can you take your SCorp to an LLC?
Yes. So the LLC can be converted to an SCorp. So it is possible to convert your business from one form to another. What you will want to do is not do that on your own. It's really best to have somebody who is either a CPA to help you or a tax attorney to help you do it and make sure that you do it right. Because an SCorp, even though they're similar to LLCs, they have restrictions. And so if you don't meet those requirements, then you end up having to treat your company as an LLC rather than an SCorp. So it's not necessarily something that you want to do without the proper professional advice.
Okay, and the next question is, are you local? Which she is, to Hampton Roads, and what other business classes do you offer?
So I am local, and I not only teach at Norfolk State, I teach business communication and intro to business and entrepreneurship and entrepreneur in residence. I also, I don't do much teaching at the Innovation Center. This is I participate in quite a few of these webinars from time to time, but I also do some of the webinars separately. So if you follow me on thedrrhonda.com, or if you follow me on social media, you'll get to see the workshops and webinars that I'm sponsoring. And if you go to the Innovation Center's website, the nsuiconmain.org, and sign up for our mailing list, you'll know when we're doing webinars. We do 2 a month. It won't always be me, but we always bring you really, really great speakers and really, really experts, great experts to teach you topics and information that you need to know. Also go to our YouTube channel. And I believe Tiffany's going to drop those links
Yes.
at the end of this. And we have our previous sessions that we've done, some of them, the more recent ones at least, that you can see those online. So there are lots of places that you can get content from me and from the Innovation Center as well.
All right, so I literally just got a flood of questions. I'm sorry. So one person asked, just to verify, you said we need an attorney to help structure our business. Is that true? Or
I'm not saying you need one. There are some people, if you're willing to do the reading and to understand what you're getting into, it's not hard. But for some people it is, understanding, an LLC means a limited liability company. And so that means that you're not completely exempt or risk-free when it comes to the liabilities of your organization. You still are open to some risk. So when you're making decisions about, should I start an LLC, or, what's the benefit of doing a SCorp versus an SCorp, or, some of those questions, you really want to seek advice from somebody, whether it's a tax attorney or a CPA. It's always good to have expert advice. And certainly at the Innovation Center, we're available to help you and to talk you through some of the questions you may have. But ultimately, you can't beat expert advice, right? So I do always defer, even though I have quite a bit of experience. I'm not a CPA and I'm not an attorney. So I would say if you want, that, if you feel that you need that level of advice, that's the way to go.
The next question is, how do you organize having several different businesses? What would you recommend?
Oh, so you're a serial entrepreneur, right? So a lot of us are, and I am too. I'm in that number of people who have more than one business, and you really do have to decide at some point, what's the main thing, right? The saying is, keep the main thing the main thing. And as entrepreneurs, we get lots of ideas, and we want to pursue lots of things because that's what's plaguing us. That's what's keeping us up at night. But it's really important to prioritize which business are you going to grow first. Figure out what it is that you do well and do that well. Let that grow until it kind of becomes automatic. Where you have processes in place, where you really nurtured it to where instead of a baby business or a toddler business, maybe it's kind of into the, adolescent stage, right? It's a couple years old, or at least if it's a year old, it's got a track record of performance and you know how to get that business going, or maybe you can bring somebody else in to help you before you move on to the next thing. One of the downfalls that we have as serial entrepreneurs is becoming jack of all trades and master of none. And you really don't want to do that. You want to make sure that you are an expert at something. Because what if one or two of your ideas doesn't work the way you think? You've got to have the main thing to fall back on. So my advice would be to prioritize and to make sure that you keep those priorities in mind. And there will be some days, if you have several businesses, that you fail as an entrepreneur in one of those businesses because you chose to excel as an entrepreneur. So you choose what you fail at some days, and as a parent, right? So I'm an entrepreneur and a single parent. So there are some days I fail at being a parent because I have to work until 10 or 11 o'clock and I don't get that quality time that I really want. Or I fail at being an entrepreneur that day because I am devoted to being a parent. So I choose in those cases where my focus is going to go. And I choose which areas I'm going to excel in. I also block out my time. So certain days I do certain business, other days I'll do other things. I block out my days, I block out my time to try to keep everything organized. Sometimes that works and sometimes it doesn't. But just prioritizing and knowing what your main thing is really key too.
All right, next question is, when making sales, what are some marketing strategies that you've seen really work effectively for your business?
Okay, so my business is one of my main business is very unique. It is doing regulatory submissions for clients that have drugs and medical devices, and I've never run an ad for that business, and I fully live off of it. My business runs off of word of mouth only. And that is powerful. I tell people all the time, word of mouth is the least expensive, but most powerful form of marketing that is available to an entrepreneur. If you can get people talking about your business, it will blow up. Ask Clubhouse if you have questions, right? They are pretty much working solely on the market of telling your friends and creating this exclusivity that makes people want the business. And so everybody's talking about Clubhouse, and that's their marketing strategy. It is literally the most powerful marketing I've seen lately. And so what you want to do is get your friends and family, your circle, your customers, get them referring their friends, get them reviewing your product and service, leaving reviews for you, leaving testimonials for you, get them showing themselves, doing a little video of them opening their box or using your product. Word of mouth is powerful because I trust, if I see my friend using a product, or if I say, hey, girlfriend, what's your favorite foundation right now? And she goes, oh, I love XYZ. I'm more likely to try that because I trust her. I don't have to trust you. You get my trust by proxy because I trust her. And so you want to be able to get your customers talking to their friends because their friends will trust you because they trust their customers. So get people talking.
All right, the next question is, how would you go about starting the initial contact with potential clients? Email, phone calls, what's your opinion?
So when you're talking about customer discovery, there are a number of ways you can do it. A lot of people choose to go to the social media route, and that's fine. If you have if you're talking about pitching, sales pitching, do you want to buy my service? I don't like cold calling. I'm an introvert, and cold calling gives me hives. So my way would be to email them and say, hey, I have something I just want to run by you. Are you interested? Can I talk to you for 10 minutes about an idea? And that even goes for customer discovery. You say, hey, I'm doing some research for a product that, I may consider putting on the market, or I'm doing some research with this program, and I just have some questions about your experiences doing blah, blah, blah. Do you have 10 minutes to talk to me on Wednesday? And they'll say, yeah. So now the pressure is off. They know that you just want to ask some questions and get their feedback. And before you know it, you have obtained a new customer. So those initial contacts, you can, use what works for you. For some people, cold calling is fine. They're good at that. I'm not. So I tend to use email as a buffer to get me in the door and let people warm up a little bit before I start to invite them to buy or to give me feedback about my product.
Okay, the next question deals with, or is about the emotional aspect of building a business. So what are some top ways to deal with all of the unknowns?
Okay, so, well, let me say this. I mean, there are a lot of my clients in my personal coaching practice, we're dealing with the emotional aspect of building your business, right? Overcoming fear, dealing with personal trauma that has infiltrated how you do business. We talk about that a lot because I'm not sure about other communities, but particularly with Black women, we deal with a lot of emotional barriers to entrepreneurship. I actually wrote a book about it, my book, Entrepreneur. You can find it on Amazon or on my website, that we are needed in this space. And while Black women are the fastest growing demographic of entrepreneurs, there's still a lot of barriers that we face, both externally and internally. We fight ourselves so much when it comes to starting businesses. And so some of those ways, I will tell you, number one, therapy. That's huge. And then secondly, get a coach. There are people who can help you to process through how your challenges from your life have affected your ability to do business. And I find that even in my own personal coaching relationship, I have a coach. Even though I'm a coach, I have one. That's something we talk about. And those conversations sometimes are even themselves emotional, because you have to take a look at what it is that holds you back. And sometimes it's not that you can't get in the room or that people won't buy what you're selling. Sometimes it is, I saw somebody who was selling something similar and I'm scared to put myself out there, or I'm afraid of rejection, and so I won't promote myself, or I don't want to be disappointed, so I won't bring in people to my team. And all of those things are rooted in emotional challenges. And so a coach really is good for helping you to see how they affect your ability to do business. So that would be my biggest suggestion to you, would be to enlist the help of a coach. And of course, therapy always works. The more that you process through your personal trauma and put those issues and demons to bed, they're less likely to infiltrate and negatively affect your business.
All right, and the last question is, would it be best to own a franchise or actually own your own business? Could you buy out the franchise and start your own business?
So that's a really great question. Franchises are cool because they give you the opportunity to to own a business without having to do some of the legwork, right? So you have a very well-defined product. Can't change that product. They generally do your marketing for you, or significantly supplement your your marketing. They help you to find the best location, and they really do give you kind of a turnkey business that you run, and you are an owner of that business, but you don't own the intellectual property, right? You don't own, if you're a Chick-fil-A or Wendy's franchise owner, you don't own that, and you can't buy them out. They're just not interested. The model just works too well for them. So what a person who wants to own a franchise, you buy in. So you put in 150, 250,000 on the low end of franchising. You put in a certain amount of money to own this franchise, and then they send you everything that you need. They help you find the building. As I said, they help you to market. They send you all of these details, and you have this support team, but you run the business. You do the hiring, you run the books, and you report back to them. So if that's something that you want to do, it's really great. Franchising is very interesting. That model is very interesting. And a lot of people even think about franchising their own business. So, if you have the resources to do that, if you want to be an entrepreneur, but you don't really have a original idea, but you feel like you have something to contribute to an existing idea or product, franchising may be the way to go. So to answer the second part of your question, no, you can't. In general, you can't buy out the franchise. They're just not going to let you. If you deviate from the franchise, they're going to put you out, and you won't be permitted to legally sell their stuff anymore. So you're either in or out.
Okay, I'm sorry. We do have one more question, and it's very short. Are you a sorority sister? And if so, which one?
I am not in a sorority. Thanks for asking, though. And I think there was one other question. I was scrolling through. There was one other question. I just want to really quick, because it's a quick
answer. I answered that one.
Okay, you answered it.
Yeah, that one.
Great.
That one was more so for me.
Okay, no problem.
All right. So, yep, that's all the questions. Did you have anything else, Dr. Rhonda?
No, I just want to thank everybody for your great questions, for participating, for joining us this morning. Please contact us at the Innovation Center. Again, our website, you're welcome. Our website is nsuiconmain.org. My website is Rhonda, RHONDA.com. And you can, if you contact me, I'll make sure, or you can, our email address at the Innovation Center is nsuic@nsu.edu. And I think all of that's in the chat, but please do reach out to us. We're happy to help you. However, need help, I'm more than happy to share your information or share your questions with our team and make sure that you get the resources and the help you need. So thanks again to everybody. Thank you to our director, Akosia, who is joining us this morning. Thank you so much for being on and for supporting us. And thank you, Tiffany. Thanks everybody.
Thank you. I'm actually, I posted all of the links in the chat, but I am going back and posting them separately because it's clustered, might be hard to read. But I have posted our social media handle, as well as our website, our email, our YouTube channel name, and there's also a link to a post-event survey that we would like everyone to take. It literally takes not even 2 minutes to complete.
Please.
So like I said, I'll go ahead and post all of that information again. Let's see. And it is 11:01, so we're actually pretty on schedule. So I want to thank everyone for attending our event today. And if you have any questions, feel free to email us at nsuic@nsu.edu. Again, I've posted our social media handle in the chat, as well as our website and our YouTube channel name. And we look forward to seeing you at our next event. Thank you, everyone. Bye.